Hi, welcome to Driven by Me and Jesus. Today I will talk about how to approach C# as a beginner in Unity. And I've seen the advice that I give many times. I think it needs to be given as many times as necessary because there are always newcomers that needs to hear it. So don't start a tutorial, start a project. What does it mean for you? It might be hard to understand first, but I will clarify it for you. It means that when you follow someone, when you follow someone without thinking about the road, you are most likely will not remember the way to go. So you can experience this in many ways. Like when you go, I remember doing many quests in WoW, World of Warcraft, where you can pick your friend and just click follow, and you don't need to touch the keyboard. And then eventually, if he asks you, okay, well, now you will remember the way to my house, and because you were away of the keyboard and it just followed, you don't remember. Of course, there is a threshold where you could be like taking notes and being present, but you will not remember as well as when you lead the way. And that's why tutorials are not that good. It can be good if you have like a good memory, like you are very passionate. Some people can only learn that way, but usually for most people, studies has been done about active learning, and it shows that active learning is incomparable to lecturing, and it's not used a lot in school because it's not cheap to do. It is cheaper to have a teacher that is just lecturing the lesson, because the teacher does not need a lot of skill to lecture and to supervise. It's harder to supervise people doing active learning, but it's better for them. Active learning is to act on what you are learning. It's to do an action and have different reaction, not even more than a test. Like a test, you have some kind of action, you pick answers, and the teacher give you the reaction, the answers. But active learning is more than that. It's really putting your hands into the making. So how do you do that? It's the same for everything. I said this in a previous episode, but it was not dedicated to this subject, but now it is. But I will repeat my experience. I've been trying all my life since very little, since like 4 years old, and non-stop. I was the kid you see always with the pen and pencil and drawing. I was this kid. And in my 30s, I went to school in 3D modeling, where there was many subjects which I learned from, and it was a great experience for knowing what I will tell you right now. So I did 3D modeling before this course. I used way back in the days the first widespread software, which is forgotten now. I don't remember the name. I will search it after my story. So I did like the Dragon Ball characters like Piccolo and Alien's Head. I think I still have the Alien Head in my old portfolio. It was with Maya, this one, and I did learn by myself. There was not much tutorial back then. No YouTube. YouTube didn't exist. Everything was every tutorial was text-based back in those days. And I kept learning, and eventually I saw ZBrush and took hands over this and learned by myself using ZBrush, and then YouTube started to appear, and I don't remember having followed tutorials so much. Maybe there was. And then 3ds Max, Unity in near 2000, the 2001, 3, 5, around those time, and 8, and later on around I kept with it until 2010 and 16, and then I took the course. And what happened? The course. What happened is the teacher, it's like the now I see it as a mythological archetype. It's the teacher that opens the door. What does it mean? It means that the door has always been there. It was right at my side. I just had to open it, but it was as if I didn't see. It was as if I didn't even keep my eyes closed. I didn't see it. It was right there. And what it was, the teacher will always open you the door, and you need to listen, because it's easy to open the door. It is like you pay a course like $1,000 just for a teacher to open you a door, and what it is. So I went to my course, and then I learned in my course about software that I haven't heard about before. It was just like shared among people in the industry, but all the tutorial, everything was there on YouTube. I wouldn't have been able to find it until a few more research, like years of diving in and out of 3D modeling. So those software were about what was happening at that time. PBR was becoming a larger thing in the production of video game development, and the use of software like Substance Painter, Substance Designer, which was not Adobe back then. It was Allegorithmic, something like that. I think it was like a French enterprise of Belgium or something. And then this was all there. The tutorial were all over the place, free to use. And then this is where you are with C#. It's all there. It's as easy as GDScript. It's all there. You just have to open Unity, create a script. If you are blocked there already, just have to search a video on YouTube telling you what are the next steps. The video is not a tutorial. You just write how to create a script in Unity. Not a tutorial, just a tip. It's like a shorthand tutorial, not a full-fledged, with many parts tutorial. The only reason why you would do a multi-part tutorial would be like saving time for a feature that you don't want to lose time creating it in your game and you already know C#. But as a beginner, you should go and search when you need to search when you are blocked, and not to fulfill like a full code. You won't learn by doing this. Then I also went to a 3D course, 3D programming course last year, and it happened. The same thing happened. The only reason why I did it, why I repeated it, it wasn't a mistake. It's not a mistake to seek for a teacher to open you a door. It's totally fine. I did it. It was not a heavy cost. So think about it before. You don't know which teacher will open you the door. I understand, but I know that in the system, in the government system of schooling in my country, I know that for certain they follow some kind of rule set that allows for this to happen, that the teachers will open the door. Even though the school is very bad, even though they are good or bad, whatever, I know that it happens. It would happen. Like I knew, like before taking the programming course, that it was the same system, because it's the same schooling system from the Quebec government in Canada. And I knew that I will relive the situation of a teacher opening the door and me just already knowing that I could have searched, but the door is like priceless. Is a small act that is. I understand that what people internationally live through, because there is a ton of schools and you don't know which one will do this opening door. So might say like go migrate into my country, but that's not the way to go. It's some kind of art to become a student here. There are it's heavily there are processes to become Canadian, so it could be, but the schooling system can change too, based on who's deciding to cut, who's deciding to not pay the teachers. Last year it was like in trouble. There was a lot of strikes. during my sessions, but it didn't affect the fact that the teacher did the right thing, which was to open the door. They have like a system of they have to teach a specific aspect of the course. So if you are interested, it was the two school where I went to. The first one was in 3D modeling. It's campus at ADN. It's in French. If you go there, if you want to go there, you have to learn French. There are probably the English version of the school in Canada, but it's might not be the same. Maybe they are in Quebec too, but I guess might not. I know there are English school. I don't know the college if they have the same in English. They have the same curriculum for each courses. And the second school in programming I did last year was Bois de Boulogne, Bois of Boulogne, BOIS dash BE dash BOULOGNE, and it was game programming. So how to start then? Of course, I would say like your project should be like the smallest you can think of, like hardcore multi-dimensional tic-tac-toe, because I know you want to do or something interesting. Everyone does. It's tiring to not do an interesting project. This is very understandable, but if you are able to calm your passion, then your passion is worth the effort, in the sense that if there are like things that are uncomfortable and you keep going, when the uncomfort will be gone, you will be way better than any other anyone who have stopped at the discomfort. If you are able to continue in the restriction, then this is where you make your creativity stronger. And it's not, it seems like a magic words that I say, but I will show you a video that explain why. It's like the first time I've been confronted to this idea is like when you want to buy gym equipment. I wanted to buy like a bike, a stationary bike, and a friend told me like everyone who buys the gym stuff, they only buy it to gather dust, because everyone leave it in the basement of the house and forget about it eventually. And now when I have something like that, I have a big leverage gym, and I every time I leave it for a day, as a week, I think about dust gathering over it, and this is like a decision you have to understand. The passion doesn't come from the object, it comes from you. So I did like many different workouts without it beforehand, so I think I finally like let myself win it, because I deserved it. I did running. I had my knee cap painful pains, and I had to stop. I was way overweight back then. Now I could like start again. I might start like this summer, next summer, and so gathering dust equipment. It's like a student who asked me, should I buy a tablet with a stylus with pen pressure for drawing? And I say you can start with mouse. Of course, for concept art, it's not the same thing, but for 3D modeling and sculpting and 3D modeling, you can start with the mouse there. It's useful sometimes when you carve like wrinkles, but not much like the other stuff. You can do it by mouse. With many of the stuff you can do it by mouse, but for concept art it's hard to. You can simulate, I think the Blender you can simulate pen pressure with the new stuff. I will check later on. So what I need to check is what did I tell you? I will check later. Don't remember. I have a video. Forgot the chat. I always think this is my cat. So is the chat working? Is anyone there? Let's test this. Is YouTube still broken? Oh, I was just in Twitch. Hi, chat. Yes, it works. Okay. Let's see what did I told you about what did I told you I would watch later? Oh yeah, I remember. Want to find the old software. The old software. It was Softimage 3D. It was like the first widespread 3D modeling, one of the first, if not the first, in 1995. Softimage. Now the other video. The video I wanted to show you. Close, right. So why anger in comfort? When you start, don't buy stuff you don't need to buy stuff. To be motivated. Creative constraint. Creative constraint. The power of creative constraint. Let's watch this together. Don't have sound.
Imagine you're asked to invent something new. It could be whatever you want, made from anything you choose, in any shape or size. That kind of creative freedom sounds so liberating, doesn't it? Or does it? If you're like most people, you'd probably be paralyzed by this task. Without more guidance, where would you even begin? As it turns out, boundless freedom isn't always helpful. In reality, any project is restricted by many factors, such as the cost, what materials you have at your disposal, and unbreakable laws of physics. These factors are called creative constraints, and they're the requirements and limitations we have to address in order to accomplish a goal. Creative constraints apply across professions to architects and artists, writers, engineers, and scientists. In many fields, constraints play a special role as drivers of discovery and invention. During the scientific process in particular, constraints are an essential part of experimental design. For instance, a scientist studying a new virus would consider, how can I use the tools and techniques at hand to create an experiment that tells me how this virus infects the body's cells? And what are the limits of my knowledge that prevent me from understanding this new viral pathway? In engineering, constraints have us apply our scientific discoveries to invent something new and useful. Take, for example, the landers Viking 1 and 2, which relied on thrusters to arrive safely on the surface of Mars. The problem? Those thrusters left foreign chemicals on the ground, contaminating soil samples. So, a new constraint was introduced. How can we land a probe on Mars without introducing chemicals from Earth? The next Pathfinder mission used an airbag system to allow the rover to bounce and roll to a halt without burning contaminating fuel. Years later, we wanted to send a much larger rover, Curiosity. However, it was too large for the airbag design, so another constraint was defined. How can we land a large rover while still keeping rocket fuel away from the Martian soil? In response, engineers had a wild idea. They'd design a sky crane. Similar to the claw machine at toy stores, it would lower the rover from high above the surface. With each invention, the engineers demonstrated an essential habit of scientific thinking, that solutions must recognize the limitations of current technology in order to advance it. Sometimes this progress is iterative, as in, how can I make a better parachute to land my rover? And sometimes it's innovative, like how to reach our goal when the best possible parachute isn't going to work. In both cases, The constraints guide decision making to ensure we reach each objective. Here's another Mars problem yet to be solved. Say we want to send astronauts who will need water. They'd rely on a filtration system that keeps the water very clean and enables 100% recovery. Those are some pretty tough constraints, and we may not have the technology for it now. But in the process of trying to meet these objectives, we might discover other applications of any inventions that result. Building an innovative water filtration system could provide a solution for farmers working in drought-stricken regions, or a way to clean municipal water in polluted cities. In fact, many scientific advances have occurred when serendipitous failures in one field address the constraints of another. When scientist Alexander Fleming mistakenly contaminated a petri dish in the lab, it led to the discovery of the first antibiotic, penicillin. The same is true of synthetic dye, plastic, and gunpowder. All were created mistakenly, but went on to address the constraints of other problems. Understanding constraints guides scientific progress, and what's true in science is also true in many other fields. Constraints aren't the boundaries of creativity, but the foundation of it.
And any video about motivation versus habits, of course. It's important to understand that motivation would be like buying something to do something else. And a lot of people, the economy is made from the impression that motivation will make you do something, but it's the habit. I don't know if they are. So you don't want to stay. I think it's this one.
Your bedroom is a mess, and you set a
maybe this one.
Your outcomes in life are often a lagging measure of your habits. We think the thing that needs to change is the bank account or the test score or the number on the scale, but actually the thing that needs to change are the habits that precede those outcomes. Rather than making the goal the default, the thing that you focus on almost exclusively, let's make the system the default, and then only check in on the goal occasionally to see if we're moving in the right direction. Achieving a goal only changes your life for the moment. It's actually not the thing that you're looking for. We think the results are the thing that needs to change, but it's actually the process behind the results. Like, if you have a messy room, let's say your bedroom is a mess, and you set a goal to clean that room, you can get motivated and do it for 2 or 3 hours, and then you turn around and you have a clean room for now. If you don't change the messy habits that led to a dirty room in the first place, then you turn around 2 weeks later and you have a messy room again. And so actually you don't need a clean room, you need better cleaning habits, and then your room will always be clean. You don't need to lose weight, you need better eating habits, and then your weight will always be around where you want it to be. You don't need more money, you just need better financial habits, and then you'll always have enough money to manage the thing that comes up. And
the other thing, this one is good. We see Atomic Habits. 1% of effort leads to many. It is far away. I want to see. I saw one, but it's not there anymore. I was about to say about it's this one. There's a similar phenomenon with the creative constraint in rock blues music, because they use a scale, one of the scale. If not, sometime in rock they will use more scale, but in blues they use the pentatonic with a half tone. and the half tone make it like a 6 notes instead of 5, but you are restricted to 6 notes. But there was like decades of blues music with very different way to play blues, and that's how I learned creative constraint was very powerful, because people kept finding new ways to play the 6 notes, and it sound, if you go like with rock, they still some of them still use it, and it's still like can sound different every time depending on how the other instruments are played and what chords are played. So next. That won't go without doing some coding. What you should do is deactivate Copilot in Visual Studio. As a beginner, it's horrible to start with it. It won't help you learn at all because it goes too fast to the answer. Your research is too slow to the answer, like going to Stack Overflow. But the opposite is AI. It's too fast. You don't lean. It's like the guy who leads you right away to the road, to the spot you are trying to remember, and you don't remember the route because of that. But how you would do then would be that you turn off Copilot, and when you are stuck, then you ask, and you don't copy the code he gives you. Don't try to avoid as much as possible to copy and paste the code. This is where the messing up will start. It's when you copy what the AI gives you. I'm talking like from experience. It's not like I hate it. It's really, this is where I've seen it many times for myself, and I've seen it, and it's like AI is as stupid as you. So when you start to be tired of coding, you start relying more and more to the help of AI, and then the AI is becoming as stupid as you. Just the way you interact with it, and often he will lead you to make, even though I ask him to like optimize stuff, don't do this kind of thing, don't use this kind of variable or that data structure, he cannot listen. You need to be very, you need to be the one who does the structure, because the AI can't really it's not, it does not think in long term terms. It does not think about team effort. Like it will not name the variable in a good right way, in the way that your team has decided. You will not put the comments in the way that your team has decided. You will not make things as optimal as it could be. Would make them fast but working. So you need to avoid as much as possible. I think you might say, well, I don't have the time. But one thing I experienced a lot AI back then, AI now. I mean, don't know if I will find it. Yeah, this is the one. You will leave it. You will live this situation if you don't listen to me. The days before OpenAI, developers coding, it codes during 2 hours. It debugs during 6 hours. Now with ChatGPT, it generates the codes in 5 minutes, but you need to debug the code in 24 hours. So you have this everywhere on YouTube, like every thumbnail, but this is hidden. This is hidden. It's still relevant, even though it's 1 year later. This is the surface, like human beings are. We are shadow. We see the surface of things, and like fruits, we only see the surface of fruits. We don't see the entire. That's how we experience the world. So I would say deactivate it as a beginner. Even like anytime you're telling yourself, I need to learn coding, and you don't know much about coding, deactivate Copilot. How to do that? Well, you go there. When you know coding, when you know data structure, the heap, what happens to variable on the heap and the stack in C# and the language you're using, because in C++ it's not the same. When you know many things, many other things, like the new using new object that will trigger the garbage collector. When you know that and you are able to find solution for that, then you can let AI and then correct as you go. But even this is it will lead you to be exhausted of coding and then being in the hell loop of AI be answering you with the same kind of stupidity. Like it seems like it becomes you because you are tired, you miss some part, and the problem is like in a typo somewhere, and then you give it to the AI, but you are too tired, and the AI don't even know something about the typo. You cannot see it. Only you can see it, and then you don't understand why his answer are still not working. You need to stop using the AI. When you see that you do like back and forth endlessly with the AI, you need to stop and look at your code. Of course, like when you code yourself and you are stuck, like you have an error, you can find it on Google nowhere, then you can try it's okay to go with the AI, might unblock you. very fast. But not when you have done like back and forth for 3 hours with the AI. Okay, so how to deactivate Copilot? I think you need to uninstall. Yeah, it's installed in the get into, but you might not want to uninstall it. Something like IntelliSense. I remember I did it. Was something like that. Maybe they changed it. VS IntelliCode. Oh, yeah, that's I am stupid. It's really IntelliCode. It's this one. Yeah, back in the day, it was you could install Copilot in there. Maybe it's still there. There are other things called Copilot, but they were like it looked like this. You had to pay. You had a free license. It was GitHub Copilot. It's still there in GitHub, but it seems to have gone away. Maybe it's installed, update, domain. It's there. It's now IntelliAsk Copilot. Oh yeah, you need to install it, but in GitHub you need to activate it and buy it. But IntelliSense, it's now, it does the same thing now. Before AI, IntelliSense was like wasn't really powerful. It was good to complete your code, but now it does like this. Back in the day, it was just one line. It was just one line, one word. Now it does like Copilot is doing. So what do you need to know about C#? So how to work then? It's way better to give you the tools to know how to face anything in C# rather than tell you everything. That's how I learned that I didn't learn coding the right way. I used to back when I was ending my high school, like in the 2001, 1999, somewhere around that time. I was ending high school. I was reading C# for Dummies, and this was the wrong way to learn coding, because I learned that you don't need to remember everything about coding. You just need to know that the variables, that you have variables, you have functions. And then you need for Unity you have special case function. You don't need to memorize them all. You need to update start for beginning, then you will learn along the way. The rest, start, update, fix update. Fix update will be more often for the physics of the game, and update will be with anything that update that it is not related to physics. And because of the order, because physics in games you have the frames that appears to the player, and you have the physics behind the frame, because you want the reaction of physics to not be done and then rendered, rather than the opposite. We have a different order of updates. So Unity function order of execution. So you have here all the function. Awake is the first one. Fix update, as I said, is before the update, because the physics need to be and they have like one is constant update. That means that the tick is the same, and the tick depends on the software. Let's check. Oh, fix update. So this one, fix update, the tick at each tick it updates. So the ticks are the same. Like let's say it's 1 second. It's probably faster than 1 second, but like it's 0.1 or millisecond. It's always 1 millisecond, but this update will depend on the speed of the lag of the game. So if there are many objects and it start to be a bit slow, this update will be slower, because it will go slower than this one. So if you need to learn a bit, you don't need to memorize them. It's just the one I know that you will learn afterward would be like on enable, if not right away, on enable, not right away. I would say on trigger, on collision, when there's something that triggers or something that collision with an object that has a zone of collision. You might not know or learn this yet. Fire animation event, maybe, if you play a lot. Yeah, the other are so not important. Maybe on destroy or on disable and on enable. This is the when you go on a game object and you enable and disable a game object. It's good to know because the script on this game object won't be in the loop of the game, so it will be lighter to when you will disable them. So if you have a script with an update in it, doing that will, even if the update is empty, it will it will not be the update. This file will not be read. Like it would be something less for the line of code to go to. Because you have a game loop, like Unity has somewhere the beginning of the game loop, and it loops over everything. It is like if you have like all of the line of code in one place and it's like a main loop, you would have like a main function in Unity, and in this main function eventually somewhere you have a main loop of the game, and then it goes everywhere. It checks the physics, it checks and then it makes a for loop and check the physics again and the rest, and so on. So it's like a big talk out there to pick together. So let's keep going. So how to read, like, what does it mean? This is weird. It's the behavior tree tutorial, so it's weird because it returns something. The update returns something, but it's it inherit from scriptable objects. This one you will eventually know about. I would say check a tutorial. It's good to. This one is good to check and try to understand what is a scriptable object. It's very useful. Just to see the anatomy and some of the wording to help you. So a class, as is named there, and in its parent class is afterward, like you have two dots and the parent class. It will inherit like in genetics from its parent. So this is the child, this is the parent. Say I kiss you goodbye. This is an abstract class. It means that it is not used in the it does not run a code. It gives genetics to children's only. And what are genetics? It's so this 102 is an abstract. It doesn't give it doesn't read codes except if it's called there. So it calls the it will not be spawned as an object when it's an abstract by itself. Only its children's will, but you can use the parent to run some codes. That way you don't repeat them in every children. Namespace is used to separate your code into larger chunks so that you can reuse names that of class, like you want to do hat class for like a t-shirt class or something, or car class for something, but you have another car class and you don't want to pick another name, then you can separate in namespace. It's the main utility of a namespace. Usually it's good to use it also for the scope, because you want to be clear about what is a private what belongs to a class and what does not belong, what shouldn't be accessed by any other class. This is a principle in coding where you want to avoid your code to go and pick things from class to class. You want your class to be as much as modular and doing their own stuff without them including other classes in them. So it will keep you from, if it's well done, it will keep you from going from picking object from one class to another, including classes in other classes. So what is the anatomy of a code? Let's see my Figure UI controller. Usually you need, for clarity, to put all your member variables at the top with a M if you want to, but I would suggest you to use M to be, so it's easier to differentiate other variable. Like this one is not a member, it's a function variable, but this one, it's above, it's in the class. It's easier because sometimes you go from you navigate from a function to another, and you don't always come in a file like I did from the top. You come from another function by clicking Control and click, like that's the Control click. So you need to know from here what are the member variable and what are the function variable. So private will be the scope. I don't usually, it would be always be public classes. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be public. There are not many reasons, I would guess. So always start by putting them first private, and later on, when you will need to access it, if it's not you that created it, think about why it's private. Can you find another way to not make it private, to keep it private? Because the more you keep it private, the less likely it will become a spaghetti code. Which a spaghetti code is when a class calls another class calls another, and then it's very hard to debug at the end when everything is mixed up everywhere. So C# is very easy compared to C++. So the for loop, you have like the variable initialization, the iterator, and the condition for the iterator to stop, and incrementation or decrementation of the iterator. So how to read that is that if the iteration that is start at 0 is smaller than the number at count, then read this, and then afterward increment, and then it will be 1 if 1 is smaller than, then read this, then increment, and then if etc. until it reached the number at count. So this enum are one of the best way for arrays when you use an array, because you don't need if your arrays change size, like I had another nodes there, your count will, you don't need to go there and add the new number. You just need to use count, because an enum start with 0. You can like if you over it, you see it equal 0. Count is equal to 7. If I had like a pack, and then count would be 8. So you can also, like, if you don't like that it's 0, you can do 1 and then it become 8. Then this one 2, this one 3, but it won't be count anymore because they are not 8 elements, they are 7. This is the 8 that is not an element of the enum. So you can see where it is referenced, where it is used with the reference. If you want to see them where the VS Code does it, I don't know if I can. I like to have it. Let's see. I would like to have it. Let's ask. Because at school I used to change them in fields just to have their references. Let's see. If you have a question, ask Perplexity with code, but don't copy and paste what it gives. But like as a teacher, ask to teach you something, especially how to use the software. Is it possible in C# to show the references of the member variable like in VS Code? Yes, it is possible to show the reference of the member variable. Go to tool, open, I will open it, text editor option, tools, options, text editor, all languages, ensure that enable code length. What? It does not work. Code length is activated, but I don't see the reference. Let's see if it's a field. It's not a field. Rebuild your let's see the sources he gave. No, I will ask the internet. Yeah, it gave me wrong thing. How do we say that? Out. Okay. How to? No, does not work. How to transform it? Okay, let's try another way. Uh, I don't think code lenses show reference over memory in C#. Yes, you are correct. The lens does not typically show reference of memory. This limitation has been long-standing characteristic. Alternative for finding. It says because it's performance. How to show them that. Yeah, this is like AI back and forth. It will will never answer my question, but no one on the internet talks about this. It seems. Another way it's like this, find all references. Or another way would be to make it into a a field, a real field. Like Control Z, 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 Z. A field would be with a uppercase. This is how you would recognize a field in your code, usually. And then in C# it's like this. Now you have the references. It's a good way. It might be slower for IntelliCode, CodeSense, or something, slower for the build, but it's faster for you and your team, because now you can see where it's used more easily, and you can make them all that way, which I will do probably another time, because now I need to go, because I need to wake up early tomorrow. So as I say, you just need to have this, and when let's say you are very beginner, when you do a code and you want it to act in the game, you need a game object which you can add, an empty one. You need to drag and drop the script on the game object, and then it will act in the game. It will act in anything in the scene there. So you can find a way, if you want to access like from a game object to another, you need to do specific thing, because now there you can access things from other script here on the same level. If it's a child, it's another way. If it's a sibling, it's another way. So you need to check, to search. You can ask AI, but don't copy his code. Implement his code, don't copy it. And that will be it for tonight. So see you tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Bye.